Hey guys, welcome back to the Leverage Advantage Show. Today we've got a huge guest with us. His name is Greg Centineo, and we're extremely humbled, honored, and grateful that he decided to join us today. Greg is an international recognized subject matter expert on transforming leadership, business, and inspiring those around him to believe in themselves. Now, the biggest story I can tell you about Greg is he has the amazing achievement of raising over $122 million for an independent film back during the global financial crisis. And we'd love to get to know a lot more about how he did that. And Greg, I'm very sure I didn't do justice to your introduction. Could you share a little bit more about what you do and who you are?
Thanks, Fazil. No, you did a good job, bro. I appreciate that, man. You know who I am. I'm like everybody else out there, just trying to figure out, more importantly, deeper who I am, and kind of getting aligned with what I love to do in life. And you know, we live in a world that requires you got to make money, right? You got to love, you got to have relationships. So I've tried to figure out how to do those things at the highest levels, you know, in the world. And one of the things that I do, and it's so important for me, is I try to live what I believe, man. I try to only do what I want to do, meaning that just doesn't mean I don't take responsibility seriously. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I just won't put my time into something that I don't believe, that I don't believe in or can be passionate about. So that's been the trajectory of my entire life, Fazil. I've always chosen things that I believe in and that I would want to do, and have been successful.
Awesome. And we were just having a quick conversation before we got the cameras rolling, and just that short conversation was extremely inspiring. Share with us a little bit about that project that really catapulted you into the consciousness of the many, the Legends of Oz project, where you raised over $122 million in circumstances where really that nobody would believe that could happen.
Yeah, man, that was an amazing project. And it's even hard today for audiences or individuals who know about that to kind of look back and really understand how difficult that was, how improbable or impossible it was to do that at the time. But Legends of Oz, Dorothy's Return was a 3D animated worldwide release. But what makes it really special than any animation film ever released in the history of animation is that was done by an independent production company. Very small at the time, that had a dream of doing an animated sequel to The Wizard of Oz. But you know, if you know animation, the Disney, the DreamWorks, the Pixar films, those cost hundreds of millions of dollars to create. So in the independent vertical of filmmaking, independent companies can't raise that type of money, and typically can't play in animation because it's so expensive. So when that idea came to me, and for our audience, you know, this is, you know, everybody's got ideas out there and dreams, right? The problem that we started to find, well, I'll get into that in a second, but the reality was these guys came to me with a dream, with an idea, and the probability of this happening was 1,000,000 to 1, maybe even worse odds, to be honest with you, Fazil. So, but as we, you know, we realized, you know, it's a great idea. It created a huge opportunity for all of us to get involved in the animation world, which is very difficult to get involved with, because if you're not one of the big studios, you're not doing it. And yet it's an extremely lucrative vertical in the business. It's one of the most lucrative industries in the world. So to me, that equated to, that was an opportunity, right? There it is. There's your path. Now, people always think an opportunity means, oh, I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to make $1 billion. No, it means there's your pathway. Now start walking, right? Because you'll spend most of your life looking to see, how do I get to the top of the mountain? And you look for an entryway. You know, you'll never even find an entryway. Like I said, Fazil, sometimes people call me up and they say, hey, we're doing taco trucks, you know, in LA. You want to get, listen, when you get them going, I'll go and buy tacos, but I'm not getting up in the morning to create a taco business. No, I love tacos, but that's not going to drive me. Do you know what I mean? So that's an opportunity, right? But that's not going to get me to the top of the mountain. So an opportunity, and that Legends project was an opportunity to do something. And so, but it was improbable. But what I did, and this is now as we deconstructed that, it's become a case study because of the success of getting that to market. I realized that what drove me was not not the belief that I would succeed or fail. I ignored the outcome.
Okay.
But the belief that I needed to try to do it. Now that's a paradox, man. That's a paradigm shift to mindset. Most of us have an idea and say, "Oh, it'll never happen," or look at all the obstacles in front of me. This is impossible. So you don't try. Well, the reality is you don't know what the future holds. You don't know the outcomes. So don't focus on the outcomes. And I didn't. What I focused on was that I'm going to get up every day and try to figure this out and do it. Now, Fazil, because I did that and my belief was in trying, I wasn't disillusioned. I looked at the mountain that I had to climb and I realized we'll never make it. We'll die. Quarter of the way up, half, we're never making it to the top. So, but that wasn't my belief wasn't built in that I'm going to succeed. It was built in trying. So I had belief in what I was doing, trying. I then had confidence about my belief to try. I then was convicted about trying. And then what happened, Fazil? I was passionate, man. Not about the success, about trying. So if I met somebody and was talking to a potential investor or a producer to get involved in what we were doing, and they said to me, "This is impossible." Well, I just told you that. Like, yes. No kidding. Right? No kidding. So it didn't deter me because I agree with you. As a matter of fact, I even told you it was impossible. So I'm not talking about the impossible. I'm talking about trying to do it. Now, we did it. We succeeded. We did why? Because we tried and because the belief was so strong in trying and then other people bought into the belief to try. As a matter of fact, I would tell investors, first 4 years of that project, Fazil, I'd say, "Hey, this is the greatest opportunity to date that I believe you'll see in your life, but you'll lose all your money if you come into this thing." And they would look at me and go, that's crazy. Like, how can you, I'm going to lose my money. You're going to lose your money because we're not going to succeed. And so laying it on the line with people, and they would say, "Then why should I do this?" And the answer to that question was, just in case we do succeed, you should have something in it. Because first of all, what a great story. And so when people realize, this guy, first of all, two things happened. They realized I understood the obstacles. And so my leadership was strong because I wasn't saying, "Oh, we can do this. This is good." No, I recognize this will never happen, but I'm willing to try. People like that. They said, "This guy, he's got his head screwed on right. He sees the obstacles. He knows it's an improbability, but he's willing to get up and try." That's leadership. That's leadership. And then they said, "You know what? Because I like him and I feel the passion, I feel the belief, I'm going to put something in this. I want to get behind. I want to be part of this story, man." And so people literally would jump on board to be part of this improbability. So you know what I mean? So what was I doing? I was leveraging truth. Don't ever tell me, "Oh, this is so difficult, Greg." You're talking to the wrong guy when you talk about difficulties. The mountain I looked at in 2007, 2008, it was like showing up at the base of Mount Everest. I'm at base camp in flip-flops, shorts, a T-shirt, and a bottle of water telling you I'm going to climb the mountain. That's impossible, my man.
Man, I'm just listening to that. I'm thinking to myself, I'm getting so many golden nuggets and revelations myself. I'm gonna have to watch this again. One of the things that you mentioned that was a real shift for me is that it's not about. I mean, it's really about detaching yourself from whether or not you're going to be successful at it. And that the mission is to try. That is, to me, it's a big shift because I think a lot of the concept of for a lot of people when they think about leadership, they think about a leader is meant to give certainty to the people that follow them, and this completely flies in the face of that. They say, "Look, I have absolutely no idea how it's going to turn out. In fact, I'm going to tell you that we are probably going to fail," right? And that. And like you said, people like that, and people follow, and people subscribe to that mission. To me, that alone is such a huge paradigm shift. One of the things I really want to ask you is this: like you said, you talk to investors and you tell them you're probably going to lose all your money, and they say, "Why should I invest in you then? Just in case we do succeed, you want to have a part in it." But you had 1,400 investors for $122 million. That's about 80,000 or just around $100,000 per investor on average. That's a pretty big bet for something that's not, well, to them, not that likely to happen, right? So what was the magic there? How do you get people to part with $100,000 on something that's such a long shot?
Yeah, man. And it's such a great question, Fazil. And it is because of not selling. I didn't sell it. Sales is such crap. And I hear some of the biggest salespeople talk, and I educate. I'm not looking to sell you to get involved with what I'm doing. I'm doing what I'm doing because I'm doing what I'm doing. And then I'm going to educate you on why I'm doing what I'm doing. There's an old story Jesus told about if you have the faith or the belief the size of a mustard seed. It's a tiny little seed. He said, you can command a mountain to move into an ocean. And it will. And what's that about? Well, it's about if you believe in something, it's not about prayer. Nothing against prayer. Pray all you want. But open your eyes and put your boots on, get to work. And then, I'm writing a book called Lucky by Design, which is basically get up, get to work, design your life, get out there, and then luck, meaningful coincidence, God or the energies of the universe will collide with you and help you. But you got to do something, right? So if you believe the mountain should move into an ocean, go get a wheelbarrow and a shovel and start digging it and wheelbarrowing it. And people are going to ask you along the way, what are you doing? I'm moving the mountain into the ocean. And Fazil, every single time they're going to ask you the next question is, why? Right? Why? They didn't ask you, sell me. They said, why are you doing this? Now you better know your why, man. You better know why you're doing it. You better know why you believe that mountain needs to move into an ocean. You know why you're confident that mountain needs to move into an ocean, convicted about why that mountain should move into an ocean, and then passionate. So when you speak about the why, some people pat you in the back and say, hey, man, I think that's cool. Good luck. And they walk away. And some people look at you, fold their arms and go, man, I believe that too. You know what? And they grab a wheelbarrow and a shovel and they join you. So I didn't sell anything, man. I educated people. My processes were six touch points, and they weren't manipulative. They were educational touch points for a potential investor to get involved in our project. I was vetting them as much as they were vetting me. I wasn't looking for money. I was looking for the right people. So the people I told, no, I'm not interested in you. One guy was offering us $1.5 million at one point. He was an art collector in Palm Beach, and he was just a real ass. And I realized, keep your money, bro. This is a community, man. This is a community of people, man. Like we believe in something. We love each other. We're trying. I don't want your money, man. I'm looking for the right people. And so that's confidence, man. Let me tell you, turning away $1.5 million in 2011 was very difficult. Our project was burning. In those days, it was burning about $2.5 million a month because then we were in full production out in India at Prana Studios. We're burning money. For me to say no, the CEO called me and said, you're literally saying no to the million. I said, man, you trust me. You don't want to wake up every day with this guy in your bed. You don't want this guy will make life miserable, bring a negative energy, right? So it was me not selling, but educating people, man. And, midway in my process, Fazil, if somebody said, I get this, man, this is awesome. I understand it. I'm ready to do it. You got to continue through the process. We want your attorneys on the phone. We want your financial guys on the phone. We want to explain it to them. So this way you really understand what you're doing. See, you want a sophisticated investor, and people think a sophisticated investor is somebody that invests in things. No, you can. If Donald Trump sat with me, and I hate to use him, I can't believe I just used him as an example, bro. I just
do it.
I think. No, I'm sorry. No, I used to use him as an example back then because he was in the real estate. And I used to say, Donald, all he did was real estate. And if he came to me and said, I'm interested in this, he's not a sophisticated investor. You say, what do you mean? Of course he is. No, he doesn't know the industry he's about to invest in. So sophistication has to do with what you know about what you're putting your money into. So it's your job to communicate and educate people about the industry they're about to potentially invest in. and you make them sophisticated. So I had a beautiful process of education, and then no close. I never closed. I had an ongoing dialogue, and continue to dialogue whenever you're ready or not ready. Or call me. So you know what I mean. It was a completely paradoxical concept, and I don't raise money. It's not what I did. It's still not what I do. You know what I mean? I just did it because I applied the same principles that I built every other business in my life over my years to success, using respect for human beings, like educate. And if you're not willing to get educated, you ain't coming in. You didn't want to go through my process, you ain't coming in. Period. Make sense?
That's awesome, man. Like I think what I love so much about you, Greg, is that you're doing the exact opposite of what everybody else is doing in it. And of course there are people who are doing all of that and they're successful. But you're successful doing the exact opposite, right? You're not selling, you're turning away people that are not right for you. What is I'm very sure it's very challenging, right? Like, and what were some of the biggest challenges you had to face in raising that $122 million? And how did you get over that?
Man, the challenges, they were daily challenges. One of the things that I would implement, and this is so funny, man, is that I didn't want to count how much money we were raising. And I remember so some of my team would say to me, my internal assistants would say, well, what do you mean don't count? I said, I want to know. And they go, but I said, well, let me explain something. If we raise $1 million today, we're going to, this is great. How much I have to go? How much do I have to go? 121 million. Let me bring you back to that environment.
Yeah.
It was the worst. Countries were going bankrupt. Banks were going bankrupt. Real estate in America imploded. The stock market imploded. Bernie Madoff. He came, everybody now was Bernie Madoff. Anybody out raising money was a Bernie Madoff. Do you understand that what I was up against psychologically was immense? So one of the things I said, don't count. I don't want to know because it's irrelevant to me. You see what I mean? So that was the first thing. The biggest challenge I had, and this is what came out after we did a case study on this and deconstructed the entire startup, was that everyone always thought the greatest accomplishment in that life was in that project was raising the 122 million, or getting the cast or the production company evolving as a production company and bringing in good, getting people to come in. Those are all monster successes, monster achievements to get that thing out and get it to the point of those highest levels in the world. Matter of fact, if you go on Amazon today, you'll see our dolls and toys and games still being sold on Amazon. So we did everything, right? The biggest challenge, Fazil, was not even all that. The largest challenge I encountered on a regular basis for the first 4 or 5 years was convincing people to work with me. Because now, snapshot back to 2008, I'm showing them I need you to come now, invest your time and your energy. And I can't even guarantee you're going to make any money right now, get paid, because, the chances of us raising any money, it's not there. And people, I had to really inspire people to believe in what I saw. Believing in the process, not the outcome, and commit themselves to it. That was the most difficult challenge. It's easy. It's easy. How do you get people to work with you before you raise $122 million from one of the most improbable attempts in the history of filmmaking in Hollywood? You know what I mean? So it was that. So that I learned, and I didn't know it at the time, but I learned that people were drawn to me because of my belief. And that my belief was balanced. It wasn't, I believe we can do. No, it was so balanced that it was even to try that, Fazil, to try to do that project was irrational and unreasonable. It was an irrational, unreasonable decision to say yes to that. Matter of fact, everybody in my circle said, you're out of your mind. You shouldn't do this. You'll never succeed. So what happened was I embraced the irrational, because everybody looks at irrationality and makes a determination that what's going to happen. They'd make a prediction. And you know what I realized? You don't own the future. You know nothing about the future. Matter of fact, what I realized is you actually create the future with your mindset. And the mindset is 2 words. You either believe you can or you believe you can't. And you're both right. If you believe you can't, you're right. You won't do it. And if you believe you can, you're right too. But I think at that point, I made the irrational. I kept it irrational, but people believed in doing the irrational at that point. So it was this balance of a healthy sense of belief and passion, confidence, weighing out with, we understand this is an improbability, but we were going to try. And great people, smart people are drawn to that. And so I started to have really amazingly skilled people join me. And, you know, because smart people, and I'm not saying you're not smart if you don't think this way, but smart people really look for a connection with people. There's a deeper sense to life. Like, I don't work for money, meaning, and I always say, and I can say this now, I've made a lot of money in my life, but I that doesn't get me out of bed in the morning. And that's a foundational principle for me, Greg Centineo. That money doesn't make me happy and it doesn't get me out of bed in the morning. What gets me out of bed in the morning is something meaningful in my life that I can do and I can believe in. That gets me out of bed. The second thing is money. It's right here, Faz. It comes so close to the first because I know you can't do anything without money. And my psychology on money is healthy. I don't love it. I need it. We all need it. And the more you have, the more you can do, right? So, and I think what happened was really good people live by that philosophy. Somebody says, I love money. I want to be a billionaire. That's all I want. That one song that's out there. I just want to be a billionaire. I cannot get it off the stations fast enough because it's such a paradoxical philosophy to how I live. I don't want to be a billionaire. I don't care. I'll make money. If I do what I love and I'm applying my skill sets to what it is, I will make money. I don't care how much. I will make money. Usually a lot of it because I'm good at what I do, but I'm focusing on what I'm doing. And good people live by that principle. So I was drawing to me, because of that philosophy, good people, because I wasn't talking about money. It wasn't existing at this point. I was talking about doing something meaningful, taking a shot, packing your bag, man, and let's climb this mountain and see how far we can get. Are you in? And people, they started jumping on board with me, bro. And, you know, and then we did it. You know, now it's this big, oh, you did. Well, we did it because we tried. And every day trying created another step closer to the top of that mountain with tremendous obstacles. But that was the greatest obstacle, was the ability to inspire people, the right people, to commit their time and energy. I mean, one guy, and I don't want to ramble on, but there was one guy, John King, who is an amazing human being, man. And he was he was investing in our project, but he was such a powerful human being. I said, hey, John, man, can you help me do this project? And that was the thing, right? Everything I've done in my life, I've always used my clients, hired my clients, because I know my clients, right? And they're great people. So John was this great guy investing in our project and believed in it. I mean, if he didn't believe in it, he wouldn't have put his money in it, right? So I saw his abilities and I sat him down one day. I said, hey, can you work with me? You want to work with me and help me do this? And he was like, yeah. So I said, I'll give you some time. And he did. And he's a beast of energy, man. Just a intelligent guy and believes you can do it. You know, believes in getting up and trying. And I wouldn't have accomplished this without John King. And anyway, one day, you know, he was giving me like, you know, a few hours a week, blah, blah, blah. So one day he was in Utah with me, Park City. I was skiing and he was in the truck with me. And I knew I needed a big ask, Faz. I knew I needed this guy. He's a stallion, but, you know, he's a maverick. So you can't saddle a guy like that. If you try to tell him what to do, he's gone. He's running. You don't saddle those guys. You got to ride them. You got to learn how to ride them without a saddle. So I looked at him one day. He's in the front of my car, my truck, and we're driving. I said, hey, John, yeah, can I ask you a big favor? He said, yeah. I said, can you just give me 6 months of your undivided attention? It was like 2010. And I was so close to first week approaching the first $33 million of this project. And I just needed this guy. And I said, can just 6 months of your undivided attention. He looked at me, he thought about it. He turned back and he said, I'm going to give you 6 months of my undivided attention. And he did. But I never lost his attention. after that 6 months, because what we then began to achieve because of his energies and what he was doing got us to the next levels, got the project to the next levels. And all of a sudden we started to see the end of the tunnel and realize we can actually do this. So those are the obstacles, man. It's building great teams and great people around you. Long answer for you, brother. It was a long answer.
That was a long answer, but it was worth it, man. We've covered so much. I just want to know really one thing. This is probably one of the most unconventional interviews that we've done. I mean, we don't ask the normal questions, but just listening to you, I just get so many revelations. I know I'm going to watch this interview over and over again. But what's your definition of success, man?
Man, success is literally being self-aware, understanding who you are, evolving in a deeper understanding of who you are, and aligning that with what's outside of yourself. Otherwise, I believe you're lost. You fail. It's not about what you accomplished. It's about me understanding who Greg Centineo is, not just 20 years ago, but today. Because I've evolved and going deeper inside myself and making sure that's aligned with the external world. So I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. I believe that's your ultimate success. And that's your potential. Your potential is not what your mom or dad tell you. Your potentials are your friends or your boss. It's literally what you are, and understanding who you are, and reaching that potential in the external world.
Awesome, man. We're gonna wrap up right now, Greg. I can't say enough how honored I am that you decided to speak with us. Your experiences, everything that you said today really resonate a lot with me, and there's just so much to think about. A lot of paradigm shifts that I'm gonna have to listen to this many times just to like really deconstruct it and get it. And I don't think I've ever said that for any guest that's been on the show. So thank you so much for spending the time. I know the audience is gonna love it. Thank you so much, Greg.
Thank you so much for having me, my man.
Hey there, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, check out a relevant video here, and don't forget to subscribe to us for more marketing tips, techniques, strategies that are working for us, or just more behind the scenes fun. See ya.